Coffee with Andy and Tracy. I think we're clear. We're gonna go take two. So it is Tuesday.
There are a few FCC violations going on in the background on the radio.
There were a lot of FCC violations yesterday on the radio.
No, just now.
Well, just now, yes. Yesterday it was a long-running tiff. Anyway, it's Tuesday morning. We have just departed Carolina Beach. Yesterday we humped it down the ICW.
Are we allowed to say that on the radio?
We are.
I mean, on the
Context, sweetie, context.
Oh.
Got up in Swansboro, got by Camp Lagoon. Camp Lagoon. Luckily, the artillery live fire exercises weren't underway, and got to see a bunch of old APCs and tanks. I thought I saw a 5-ton over in the marsh, and they use those for shelling practice across the ICW. When that happens, there's a patrol boat, the top and bottom, that blocks everything. We were going towards one of our known entities. When you're sailing, it's much easier to come into some place you've seen, especially if you're coming in after dark. Amber, I'm sorry. Sometimes we just got to make miles, and we had
Remember, anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
We had to get to our favorite bongo burger place, which is
It was worth it.
it was worth it. It is seriously top 3 easy. Top 3 best burgers in my life.
Okay, sure.
Top 3.
Because I've only made burgers twice.
It's better than some of the burgers you've made.
I'll admit that. I'm not a good burger maker.
But and they're cheap. Like the 3rd pound candy bacon cheeseburger is $9, and then you get all these sides on it. Oh, wow! It was cold outside. It was cold yesterday. We woke up with it just below 40 degrees. I think it was 38-ish, and the high yesterday was 54. But the ICW was pretty, and it was beautiful yesterday. Tried to get a mooring ball in Carolina Beach, which is where we rode out Hurricane Ian, and because winds overnight were 20-25 knots, we had some protection from the northeast, from all the buildings, condominiums in the Carolina Beach basin, but we couldn't get a reservation. I sent a couple of messages through Docwa to my favorite dockmaster. He didn't respond, and ended up just calling his office. He informed me that the mooring field was under construction and had been decommissioned for now, but for upgrades and repairs. But the company doing it was more than a week late starting on it, and as of last week they hadn't done anything, and he hadn't been out there yesterday. So if there was a mooring ball there, grab it, free of charge.
So we did.
So we did. Mooring balls there are only $20. They're the
Bomb diggity.
bombdiggity.com. We came in after dark like gangsters. Again, Amber, sorry. And even having been in there, we went in the first time at night. We picked up the mooring ball the first time at at first light before dawn, in 35, 40 mile an hour winds, and taught ourselves how to hook up to our bridle and pin it to a mooring ball, and hung off the front of the boat with Nicholas holding a book. I was holding the pennant.
Raining. Blowing like crazy.
And Tracy's hanging off the front, tying a double
Waterman's colon or
Oh.
something. I don't know. Whatever it was, it helped.
It helped. It was actually our backup because we
Yeah.
had 3 connections to that, not knowing, and it being our first rodeo at that. So it was so much easier just in the dark. A little stressful. I don't recommend it for all couples.
But those that have been through marital counseling can probably handle it. I hear what you're saying.
What you're saying
How does
is...
that make you feel?
Oh, we're excited to be heading south. If
We'd be more excited if we had somewhere to put our boat next week.
working on that. So, anyone in the Charleston area that has a place that we can,
The greater Charleston
the
area.
greater Charleston area,
We'll
not
take
just Charleston,
Beaufort, we'll take Georgetown.
not just Charleston proper, Charleston area that we could leave our boat while we are gone for Thanksgiving. That would be muy bueno.
Not completely unattended for an entire week.
Not just dangling on the hook. But speaking on the hook, last night I slept. The night
I'm still asleep.
The night before in Swansboro, there was some bridge debris in the mooring field,
Oh,
or in the anchorage. So we dropped anchor, and I put a couple fingers on the chain so I can feel what's going on down below, and I could feel my anchor skidding across big pieces of concrete, and then popping up, and then it grabbed and held. But after that drag initially, I didn't sleep well. We swung not 180 degrees, but like 240 degrees over the night. And we were clear of everything. We were clear of everyone. And everyone, when you swing, the boat's next to you swing. But you worry about dragging, especially that first night. We'd gotten there right at dusk. So sleeping last night, all night, was great. Going to do a quick movie review. Previous night we saw Hustle with Adam Sandler. Last night the kids wanted to see Where the Crawdads Sing, which I can't speak to the adaptation from the book.
the books. I mean, I have to say that the movie probably does the best job of following the book. She was a little too pretty and polished
Right.
in the movie because she was truly like a wildling in the book. And the transformation of her being able to become human was much more pronounced.
Was it?
Through Kate and later through Chase.
Right.
But they did a very good job of telling the story in the movie. I enjoyed the movie, but a book is always better.
Was that the second time you seen that?
Yeah.
And I need to look it up. I saw it in the theater with her, and I've not read the book. And then watching it on Netflix last night, not a paid endorsement. If Netflix would like to sponsor us, we can put your logo right up
over
here. I thought some of the scenes were slightly different last night, watching it a second time, and that just could be some editing. But I don't know. I mean, some movies do that for their release videos.
To change the rating. Well, I mean, they didn't.
Not to change the rating, just to change the story a bit.
Oh.
And to do flow. It'll be like a second editor's cut or a director's cut.
And it also may be that it has to be a certain period of, like, does Netflix require a time?
I don't think they do, but I thought it was longer in the theater. The kids, other than Nick, that a third of the way through it stood up and said,
Well,
I'm tired, I'm
It
ready
wasn't
to
an
go.
animated action movie, so. And he left, and then the sex scene started. We were all like, "You left at the wrong time, buddy. Come back." That's probably why he left.
He could feel it building.
Yeah, he may have gotten uncomfortable and left, which is fine.
It is. But Camden and Riley and Micah watched it, and then as soon as it went off, I thought they were going to make some snarky comments.
Parker did.
He started to make one, and then he
was like, "I can't believe Mom likes that movie so much. It was terrible or something." And I was like, "Really? You didn't enjoy it?" He's like, "No, I actually thought it was really good."
but
But he loves to poke.
he loves to poke. But they had a couple of statements that were very insightful for
Yes.
them. after the movie.
And I hope they pick him up.
Do what?
Oh, I thought you meant during the movie. Like when they talk about Reed, like when she's like, I didn't know words had so much meaning. He goes, well, not all words do.
Right.
But she was so excited, and then he said, from this day on, you'll never be able to say you can't read again.
Right.
So we have a boat full of severely dyslexic and brain injured children. So the resistance to the written word is very powerful.
It is. And it can't, telling them to read can't come from us.
So it's always good when you can get them in front of somebody that can be somewhat inspirational in that manner.
Feedback.
Dawdling.
We are dawdling compared to what we were doing.
Well,
I mean, we were doing 7+ knots down Snow's Cut, so that's out behind us. Stephen, if you're going down Snow's Cut, I've done it both ways.
with the tide's much better.
With the tide is way better, and not in the dark's way better.
And not with a hurricane coming.
Man, that first time through
Although
Snow's
I
Cut.
don't know, I don't think we had any idea, like, I didn't know that the weather was going to get dicey as quickly as it did then.
It had not been forecast to go
No.
that dicey.
And thank God, because we were trying to get into a marina right back here at the Cape Fear River, like, inlet opening, and it is protected back. But thank God we didn't get in there, or we would have been stuck here for that hurricane, because we couldn't move the next morning.
Right. So, Stephen, the current reps through there, it's like 2.5, 3 knots with the tide. So if you can get in there with the tide, do it. It shot us out the other end like a cork. So it was much less stressful this morning than it was last time. I felt myself clenching, but not so much today. And some of that is familiarity, having seen and more time on the boat. I'm about to approach my first 1,000 miles.
Aww.
You're way over that.
But do they count anymore?
What?
Do the miles count?
After 1,000 miles?
After 30 years, do the miles still count?
Now the odometer on an old car does.
That's true. Are you calling me an old car?
No! For the record, Chalmers. But no, Chalmers. I did not call her anything old. So this is to Michael.
Which one?
This is Michael in Charleston. We're getting a fuzzy mic. We're getting a couple of fuzzy mics so we can clip on the little things. It's just, I haven't had a place to even take an Amazon package.
You haven't had a place to take a shower.
We took showers this
I got
morning.
clean hair. It's so cute.
It was great. It was magical.
It was very nice.
It was, and you were dreading it.
It was really cold yesterday. I was no way I was taking a shower.
Michael, we're going to get some fuzzy mics, and we just have to have a place where we can receive some Amazon packages. Hopefully that will be at Cooper's River Marina after I call and plead my case with James this
Order
morning.
up, James.
I need to find out what his...
So what needs to happen is Michael needs to be standing in the office in front of his face while you call him.
It doesn't need to happen. I just need to know what James's favorite beverage is.
I don't think you can bribe a county employee. Yeah, you can.
Some people want fresh baked brownies, cookies, frosty beverage. I'm not saying I'm going to bribe a public official either. He's not an official. He's not an elected official. He's just an employee. True.
But he probably can't take tips. That would be considered a tip. I mean, I'll give him a tip. Not that kind of tip.
Not that I have a log or
Not
anything.
right.
We've seen 2 bald eagles this morning.
3. 2 were on a post, and the third came down and tried to, like,
Harass them.
I think he was trying to join. And then the 2 took off, and the one was on the next pylon down.
I've got all
That's
3 of them on
pretty good.
video.
Did you get one in slow-mo?
I did not.
We need a slow-mo one. Because they're so beautiful. But have you noticed when they leave you, they always leave with their rear end to you?
Yes.
They never fly like across you. They go straight away.
And unlike a lot of other birds that take flight and have lift initially, the bald eagles will swoop down to accelerate, and then they soar up and off. We trimmed out, or we did the second take because of the FCC violations. We've had a good time not knowing these boats, but getting to know the captains and the radio operators on them, just from their soothing voices. And we also have learned a lot of the jerk boats that, man, they'll go 15, 20 knots by you and 10 feet off your beam and to wake you. And if somebody wakes them up eventually, they throw a hissy fit just because it's the first time they've ever been waked or something. I don't know. We're not going to stick to the negative. It's all positive today. We're debating shooting out of Cape Fear River and going into Little River Inlet at Myrtle Beach. And there's a guy there that's going to buy the dinghy, so I'm excited about that. That'll free up some funds so we can
Warship off our bow.
a warship off our bow. I see it. We haven't really passed any warships.
They all went south.
We've had them go by. We had the submarine go by. I think enough time has passed. I can post a submarine video. I've looked it up. You can post videos.
I just thought
The tenor of this video just slowed down. So I'll post the warship video, and I'm going to continue doing these videos on a daily basis. Then I'm going to do like weekly or trip recaps. And I think those are easier ways. I've had a hard time getting the vision of how to assemble things, just because I haven't done it before. It's a lot to wrap around and try to think of all your videos and laid out in files. You can't see them all. You have to give triggers, so I have to watch through them all, create some notes about things I want to highlight, and hope that I caught well on video enough to highlight, and then be able to put all that together. So we'll see. I'm kind of learning this trade craft. Miss Annie, if you are watching, the prohibited area is just off our starboard. The marvelous Mrs. Annie, who we highlighted a couple of days ago, was telling us a story about. That was a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah.
She had a little monohull named Peace. And it was real foggy in the Cape Fear River. So she got out of the shipping lane. She's like, on the charts, there's this big wide area that's deep, and I can anchor there and be out of everyone's harm's way. So the fog was really dense. I went over there and I threw my anchor over the side. I don't think it was power because I think everything was manual on her boat. And I'm sitting there, and someone comes over the radio with a really stern voice, and they tell me I can't be there, and they're going to come over and board my boat and do an inspection. And they came over to the boat, and they inspected my boat, and I told them I was going to feed them, and I made them all sit down. So I fed them, and then I said, I'm going to go inspect your boat. And before they could say anything, she jumped over on their boat, and she said several things failed.
Like the fact that they had a lady on board and no door on their restroom.
No door on their restroom. And
There's a whole flock of baby ducks, like downy feathered baby ducks in front of us.
They're not downy feathered, or they wouldn't be in the water.
Yeah, they're like, that or they're little teeny black woodducks. Maybe. Oh yeah, they have a white cheek patch. I have been seeing like some little teeny woodducks. Oh no, there's one. Sorry guys. Here, I'll go over here. No. Why did you take off in front of me, you ding dongs?
They're not downy. Downy can't fly.
They're cute.
They are very cute though.
They're tiny. like little black cups with a little white cheek pouch. So cute. I'll have to look in the Marsh Girls books and see if
Is there a Marsh Girls almanac?
There needs to be.
Did you see the realization on her face? It was like serenity. It wasn't panic. It was that's something I should probably find. So, we're doing good. You have any stories that you want to tell, sweetie?
No, we're just in the Cape Fear River, which, you know, the name should strike fear in your heart. Goodness, that's a big catamaran.
But again, it is all a ton easier when you're going with the Cape Fear River instead of bucking against it.
We're going to check the weather here a little bit, see if we can shoot out of the Cape Fear Inlet and into the Little River Inlet.
When we were coming up Cape Fear last time,
10.
the wind was behind us blowing 30 knots. The river was flowing so hard, and then the tide was going out. We were only making 2 knots.
And it was pretty rough. I mean,
it was choppy.
Then that damn freighter came through that skinny little part. I had to get over behind a nun and hide from him. Like, no, you go on by, buddy. I'll just be over here.
I'm gonna hide behind a nun over here.
I'll just be over here.
A nun is a buoy of a certain shape with a kind of a trapezoidal top. So yeah, we're hiding. It's like me trying to hide behind a telephone pole. Not gonna work.
It worked.
Or me hiding behind a straw.
I kept you safe.
You kept us safe, but there's no hiding behind a straw.
We got waked harder than that at the Cook River Marina a few times.
A day.
By things we don't even know what they were.
Right. So we are Charleston bound. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody. I'm going to wrap this one up. Until next time, clean up after yourself. Leave the world a cleaner, happier place. Spay and neuter your pets. Tell your friends and family you love them. Talk to you soon. Bye.